All right, everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the Cosmically Powerful Blerd. Again, this is J-Wall.
I'm Kilowatt.
And we're going to, as we talked about in the discussion last episode, we were going to talk about Lobo. And not Lobo on the motorcycle, who everybody associates with the comic book now. It's, or the animated series. The Lobo, this was from, the publisher was Dell Comics. I think it premiered December 1st of 1965. And the first Lobo was a black cowboy who was wealthy but didn't have a name. And then the story arc is based around him. And then Kilowatt brought up an interesting point, and I'll let him go ahead and talk about if anybody's seen Bass Reeves. I know that show is...
show's coming out.
Yeah.
Bass Reeves, I can't think of the name of the actor, but like a lot of the emphasis, or more or less the characterization or the creation of Lobo coming from Bass Reeves, coming from the stories of old black cowboys. And more specifically, those who were known as like the outlaws or the lawmen of the time, who sought justice. So,
yeah. And the only comic book before that, I believe, is 1947, all Negro comics. Yep. People who don't really remember that, it was very limited. They're really hard to find now. But that was the only one. So it was from 47 to 65, and you know they reprinted 200,000 copies. They were sending it out to newsstands and people to sell them. And overall, I thought they sold either between 10 to 15,000 copies, simply because at that time there was no black heroes. If you look at that time period in history, I mean, this was in a time where black people across the country were struggling, right?
Right.
Like, and so to introduce and since you have a degree in this, I would imagine that in those times people associate cowboys with always white people, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even the idea of looking at cowboys or looking at the West started being romanticized at that time.
Yeah.
Through other media, through movies, through vacations, even through storybooks. They were handing out 5-cent storybooks, what we would say would be the original comic. That's how it was done in the early 19th or the late 19th and 20th century, to where we were looking at, this is what the Wild West looks like,
Right.
And it's white. That's the hero is white. So the hero is white, and oftentimes everyone else of color was not. So to see that black publication of a black superhero, but more in the sense of what would have considered to be a hero at the time, which would have been a cowboy, was completely unheard of. Even though it was, if you were a cowboy and you lived in the West, and it was heard of, but it was not the story that they wanted to tell.
Yeah. Do you think it would, if there was a reintroduction in 2023, how do you think it would play out?
I honestly think it would play out pretty good. I mean, we have the Bass Reeves show that's actually coming out. I believe there was...
I watched the first 4 episodes.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I watched the first 4 episodes. I think the 5th episode came out last Thursday, I want to think. But yeah, I watched the first 4 episodes.
But we had there was another series that came out through Netflix that also kind of lifted up those characters, in which I mean, black people, we're ready for it. We're here for it. We're ready to hear about our history and the things that have been left out. So I think that as of right now, if something like that was made, it'd be something that we would all look for, especially if we can connect the historical context.
Yeah, and for all you avid collectors out there, there is one available on eBay in case you want to grab a piece of history. Again, when you think about now, if you said there was a run of 200,000, people would snatch them up because that's not very much in a run of comics, especially from December the 1st, 1965, right? Of a black cowboy, you know, where there are not a lot of them.
No.
There's not a lot of them around.
No.
So I would say if you're a collector and you have that extra money, I'm thinking about purchasing. Now I'll keep you posted if I purchase. Everybody knows I purchase comics like that. So I'll keep you posted. And then if I grab it, maybe we could do a whole show around Lobo, because there's some more information about how the people felt, the people who designed it, the company. And you know, once that ran out, the next person, and again, shameless plug, but it's true, it's Fantastic Four number 52. What do you want me to say? Right? No, and so if you,
Black Panther, yeah,
it was Black Panther,
yeah,
and then if you look after that, Marvel continued to produce, because after Black Panther, it was Falcon and Captain America and people like Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, and then you start to see actually where you get black characters from Marvel, and you see them not just Wakanda characters, but also just like the characters surrounding Luke Cage, the characters surrounding those black characters, because they need, you gotta find people who look like you.
Yeah. That is true. And so again, we have Lobo to thank for it. Didn't go anywhere, unfortunately. Wasn't picked up. That was a different era, a different time. As a community, a black community, I think we're still important that we support. And again, if any collectors out there, run out and grab it. It is a piece of history, and it led to, again, Black Panther. And then we get into if you watch the previous episode about the greatest heroes, and I agree that X-Men Expanded, you get into characters like Bishop.
Exactly.
And I love Bishop, man.
I love Bishop.
And you start to see those characters evolve out of something historically that people distanced themselves from or didn't want to read, or I believe they said that they were sending the Lobo comic back unopened. Like the people knew it was a black cowboy superhero, and they just send it back unopened, right? And so to see the progression in not only Marvel comics, but in comics everywhere, I mean, it speaks to amount of progression that we've made. So again, it's a historic thing. Yeah,
I think it is also a good point to note. I think you spoke on this too, where this was in 1965, but the black comics that came before the
1947.
1947, yeah, and even so much as me sitting here not having a lot of context or information of what was publicated or what was even on the design floor of those, to see what ideas could have came out of that. I mean, we could have had a black Superman before we had a black Superman.
That is, yeah. All Negro comics. If you haven't, go check that out. It's called All Negro Comics. It did much like T'Challa from Wakanda. It also had a African descent character in there. I don't know. I haven't looked it up to see if it's available for purchase anywhere. If you find that out, leave it in the comments below. Reach out to us and let us know. And again, if you pick one of those up, and I think this conversation, since we're talking about black characters, will lead us into our third episode, which will be Black Mutants, right?
Yeah.
Seems like a logical course since this is the path that we're on. Again, thank you for watching Cosmically Powerful Blerd. I'm J-Wall.
I'm Kilowatt.
And see you next time.